We've got Richard Diplock here today. He's ex-Aberavon wing. Rich, you doing good?
Not too bad, Swag. All good. You safe, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Richard, you played in the 80s, 90s for Aberavon. Over 200 games, over 80 tries. Just give us a bit of a glimpse back in your days. You know, what was the feeling like at Aberavon?
Well, we'll call them the old days. I always sort of used to watch Aberavon as a kid and used to see the likes of Alan Martin, Gary Matthews, Les Play, Billy, Mainwaring, Ogwyn Alexander, all those greats. And I thought, I would really love to represent Aberavon. It would be such an honour. And obviously, I played my rugby down Scow Youth, and we had a fantastic side down there. And I did score a lot of tries, but I think the credit to the side we had down there, it was to score tries was easy because we had such a good side. And I caught the eye of Aberavon. I played a few games when I was still in youth, and I think I joined just after I finished youth, after 18, I think it was, maybe 18, 19. My first game was against the RAF on a Wednesday night and scored 2 tries.
Nice.
And got asked to join. I went training, and then I was playing against Pontypool on a Wednesday night. And I always remember Di Joseph, he was an ex-Scow player as well, giving him a lift home and saying, like, well done. And Pontypool in those days were Pontypool. You had Graham Price still playing, Bishop. They had a formidable pack with Jeff Perkins, Staff Jones, Chris Hewish, Brown. Jeff Squire was still playing then, finishing his career. They were a force. And to play against the likes of those guys, it was a stepping stone and a massive learning curve,
Yeah, so you must have played some really good games back then against some quality players and some historic opponents as well. But you were capped by Wales in '88. To talk us through that, talk us through the experience there in '88 against Romania, was it?
Yeah, it was. It was out of the blue, actually. Obviously, I left Aberavon in '88. I was obviously with them for 5 years, and I didn't really want to leave, but I had a few phone calls in the summer from Clethley and Bridgend, and I thought, if I don't go now, I never go, just to see if I can make it. And yeah, I went to Bridgend. Old Welsh youth coach Brian Nicholas was backs coach, and he was assembling a back line that was exciting. We had Aled Williams was coming from Swansea for outside half.
I remember.
Obviously, there was Glenn there. You had John Devereux and Mike Hall, which were Welsh internationals and British Lions at the time, and John Apsey. And Andy Martin was fullback at the time with Chris Bradshaw and Awal Parry. So I thought, let's give it a crack. Yeah, we had a good start to the season, Bridgend. We didn't lose a game. And obviously, when you score tries, your name starts to get sort of put about. And it was a good backline. We were firing, in all fairness, because it was a side put together. Mainly, he assembled a pack of forwards who were bullies and were agile as well around the field. Yeah, so I got called into the Welsh squad. I missed the B squad. Yeah, and it was one of those. I just went training, and obviously you try your best in training, try to impress. And I always remember having a phone call on a Wednesday morning. I was afternoons, and it was the big 5 then rang me, and he said that I'd like to say congratulations, you're playing a week Saturday against Romania. I said, serious? I thought it was a wind-up I did, because Roland Phillips, he was a fine art at winding people up.
Yeah.
Phone calls. Yeah, so it sunk in then, and I think I made my late dad the proudest man in Port Talbot, buying everybody beer. Yeah, it was an experience I will cherish. Obviously, we lost, but I was on the bench then up in Scotland, but never got on. And obviously, with better players obviously coming through, I didn't get another chance.
Before we move on to the feature for today, do you remember the back line that started against Romania?
Yeah, I do. It was comical in a way. That's how the Welsh Rugby Union were, because we were training midweek, and the old Waterton Cross, we trained on the Sunday all day, and my call then was obviously a Cambridge Blue, and it was the varsity match on the Tuesday, so they give him a choice. Do you want to play for Wales or Cambridge? And he chose Cambridge.
Okay.
So, fair point. So we trained then on the Thursday, yet they didn't, Mark Ring didn't have the information, he didn't turn up. So, lo and behold, Mark Ring got dropped then from the squad, and the WIU picked Mike Hall. Although he played on the Tuesday, they put him in the starting 15, which was very odd. But anyway, yeah, the back line was Robert Jones, Jiffy, who was captain.
Nice.
John Devereux, Mike Hall, Glenn Webb, myself, and Tony Clement.
That's a pretty decent backline there, eh? You must have been chuffed.
Well, yeah, it was. Didn't see a lot of ball because I think the Romanian forwards sort of took a grip.
He was running with it all the time, was he?
Yeah, we were on the back foot, if I remember. I did have a few runs with the ball, but our forwards just didn't have the ball. We couldn't attack them. I think Dev scored a try, and that was it. It was one of those, everything went wrong that day, and it did, So I think, obviously, scapegoats, not good enough. Out you go, Yeah. So.
Amazing story that. We are here today to speak to you about you naming your all-time Aberavon 15. We're going to go now through and start at full-back. You've played across 2 decades, 80s and 90s, so you must have had a wide choice. So it's all on you. Off you go, right. Full-back.
Firstly, I do apologise to the players I've missed, lads, because I've got to get that in, because there's so many great players I played with. Everybody could put on a jersey, but I've just picked a side who, through flair and who I could remember, made an impression. You all made an impression, but here goes. My side, number 15, Winford Lewis. Winford, when I joined Aberavon, he was such a unique player. He was high ball, fast. He used to come into the line at pace, and by God, he used to put you into space, both wingers. And he deserves it for me. He used to help me as I was a whippersnapper then, 18, positionally learning the game and just covering. He was a good bloke on and off the field, so he gets my vote. 14, like I said, there's so many to choose from, but I'm going to go for Simon Hutchinson. Now, Simon, he was only about 5'5", but by God, he was a pocket battleship. He had a nice little sidestep on him, strong, elusive, bit like Shane Williams. Shane Williams player, excellent player, good friend, good laugh. Centres, I go for those.
Simon score more tries than you?
Sometimes, I don't know. But he's always injured.
Go on,
Centres, I'll go for Squiggly, Gary Matthews. Gary, when I first joined, he tended to look after the backs and the squad. He had awesome vision and speed. He could break the line and put you into space, no problem. His tackling was immense in defence, an organisation of a backline. And although there's so many great players I've played with Abram, I think Gary does emulate that position. He has it. He's nailed that. My other one is my work colleague, Jardine, John Jardine. Now, John, he captained, obviously, Aberavon for numerous years, but he led from the front, John did. He could play in the back row. He was a tough cookie, good organisation like Gary. In the line, he would tackle anything, run through anything. He was a good boy. Good to have on your side when times got a bit tough, Yeah. Left wing, I'll go for Darren Griffiths. Obviously, he had a brother, Dean. Darren, he was like a gazelle, Darren was. I always remember him. I used to play 14 when I was there. he was young, raw, but fast. And over the years, I've seen Darren develop into a fine player. Tries just came to him. He was fantastic. He was a good player. Right, pack now. Pack of bullies. I can't remember who I went through number 8. Swan, can you remember?
You haven't done your 9 and 10 yet?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. How could I forget 10? Mike Lewis, alias Prince. Mike, he was one of these white outside halves who wouldn't stop chops in all game to the ref, to the opposite number. He would wind the opposite number up all day on the outside halves because he was so fast off the mark. He would take the ball up and he had such a lovely flat pass. Excuse me, Mike. A miss 1, miss 2. He put us into space, kick off either foot, the old spiral kick. He had it all, Mike did. Always used to smoke a fag before he went out. He was a top bloke as well, Mike. Number 9, can only be 1 9 in my eyes, and that's Ray Giles. Yeah. Ray was like another back row for us. He was so strong, pick a ball up, pull. He would take the back row with him. We would have so much space out wide then. He was like a little Tasmanian devil, Ray was. He was a good player. Not the most happiest of players, mind, you know, he was a grumpy little so-and-so, but...
he coached me in Wales Youth and Bridgend under 21s. That was my first experience with Ray Giles. I got some good stories about Ray, but not for camera.
Yeah, good bloke, good bloke. I got to have a look at the old phone now, Swank, because I can't remember it.
Yeah, let's get to the big boys, the pack.
The big boys, right. Right, this bloke, I remember him joining when he was a whippersnapper, number 8, George. Okay. And the reason he's called George, because I named him George, is George Dawes. That's, who's your baby? Who's your baby? George, he was so strong. I remember him, he was a lump because he came from Neath. And I thought, bloody hell, who the hell is this bloke? By God, he used to pick a ball up from a base of a scrum and he was handful. And he had so many seasons with Aberavon. Obviously, when you played Swank,
yeah,
he still continued that form all the way through. Fantastic ball handler, vision for the game. He would lead by example. If you were losing, there's one man who could rely on as George. Comes to my others now is number 7 has to be for me Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards. He came from Tembe, he did, but he finished his last 2 years when I was at Aberavon, probably 84, 85. He was an animal of a back row, Mike was. Old school. He was Jeff Squire mould. In the dirt. He was one of those players who would take all the knocks. He was awesome player.
Typical awesome. 7.
Yeah, number 6, it has to be Billy Shenton for me. Great captain, awesome player, tough as old boots, Billy. Good, but he could play in various positions, but 6 for Billy. He was one of those players in the wet day. Him and George, you know, it's going to be our game today because we're going to win because that was their type of game. Hard player, gutsy, awesome captain, leads by example. On and off the field, you know, he deserved to be captain for many years. That's why he had the players' vote, because a lot of boys respected him and still do now when you see him, you know.
His son's pretty good as well, Ewan Shenton.
Very, very impressive. That's what I think it's a decline now where you've got the regions, I find, where a lot of players get unnoticed. Whereas when I played, you were in the window. Whereas now, if you don't make Wales under 20s, you don't get into the regions. And I do feel for a lot of players, there's some cracking players that go unnoticed, and they just go by the wayside. Right, who we got now? Right, it can only be one player by here. Jumping Jeff Jenkins. Jeff was one of those players. He was a tough nut. Jeff was hard player. Bit of a loose cannon, but you could always count on Jeff to win you ball. hit rucks and do a bit of damage behind the ref's back, you know. When you were allowed to do it, he was one of those players where he would put his body on the line and just get on with it.
Jumping Jeff Jenkins.
Jumping Jeff. The next player has to be Panther, Alan Martin. He played his last season, my first season, and just to be in the same side as a 70s legend like Alan, it was great. Obviously, you look up to him when you used to see the 70s Welsh players, but Alan, he was still going, and a good laugh. Good laugh, Alan was. He was old school as well, you know.
Good goal kicker as well, eh?
Yeah, the old point in between the old Adidas cap when he nubbed it.
Right, the front row boys.
Front row, there's so many I could have chosen, but this front three says it all to me. Leighton Gerrard. No, he come from Neath. He went to Neath, he did.
Yeah, I know, yeah, got him.
He come to us as a raw 19-year-old, and I don't know a lot about the front row, but he got called up to the Welsh squad for training within a year and a half. He was that good. He was a fantastic. He was didn't take any prisoners. He didn't give toots for anybody either. He was a hard, physical player as they go.
I think I played with him. I think I had a season with him, Leighton Gerrard. Hooker, right? Or prop?
Prop. He might have played hooker late, but he joined. He left Aberavon then, I think, 86, probably 88, I think. He went to Neath, and he was a part of a Neath side then who was sort of, they went on to win things, you know. He was, I think he had a few years with Neath. He was a good boy. Hooker, for me, there's some good hookers in Aberavon, but obviously Billy James stands out for me. Billy, fantastic player, threw a ball like an arrow. I think obviously Billy, he had the bulk as well around him as well. He was mobile around the pitch. He was a fit guy, Billy, and he just, like the old school, like Jeff, led by example. You know, we had a pack of forwards in Aberavon then. We were up there. We met the old merit table. We were like round about position 4 and 5. You know, on our day we could beat anybody. And my last choice has to be Paul Knight, Crunner. Another Welsh cap. Paul, he left Aberavon, went to Treorchy Zebras, and then Pontypridd. Crunner was a physical specimen. Awesome scrummager around the field. You wanted these guys in your pack, and they just set the tone for a game. Because if you pack a performing, it gets the backs tails up, because if they set the platform, you can do things. And our pack used to do that on the day. He was awesome. And due to his illness now, I think he's got a bit of MS. He's not too well. Yeah. But it's a shame. He's a top bloke, Crunner, and well respected throughout the rugby community.
Sounds like a really hard-driven, hard-working pack there anyway. So, as you just said, if they're on the front foot, then you're getting more ball, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Joe. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for sharing the starting 15. I've got 3 questions for you now. What was the best memory for you on the field as an Aberavon player?
I think it has to go to 1984 Stradey Park quarter-final against Llanelli.
Okay, yeah.
It was played, I think it was February it was the only game on that day due to the frost. There was straw on the pitch, and we arrived there as pure underdogs. And we beat them. Obviously, it's well renowned we beat them. The pack that day, they took Llanelli Park apart. It was fantastic. It sticks out in my mind because it was a packed Stradey Park. Obviously, the only game being on, televised. I can still visualise the try now. Mike Lewis threw a huge miss too, I caught it and I went in the corner to score. And Ray Giles, we won the game. I think it was about a minute to go and we were losing. Phil Davis broke from a scrum and he passed it to Johnny Griff. And I remember Johnny Griff ran at me. I tackled him into touch and he threw the pass inside. Ray caught it and ran 50 yards and scored. We won the game.
Yeah, I think I've seen a picture of that. I'm sure it's hanging up in the club. I can see Ray celebrating. That's Stradley Park, yeah, you said?
Stradley Park.
Yeah.
I think that's the best memory. There's a few off-field memories I got, which obviously you can't disclose. But
keep them to yourself today.
Yeah, but that was the highlight. That game, I would say, puts it up there as a one to remember for me.
Second question. Now, you can either choose an individual or you can choose a team. So the question is, who was the one team or individual that you were most nervous about playing against? So you can either choose like an opponent, an individual, or a team.
That's a tough one, that is. I would say Cardiff, because at the time, I was about 18, 19. And I remember we went to the Arms Park and we had a bit of a thrashing that day. And what sticks out about their back line was Terry Holmes, Gareth Davis, Mark Ring, Donovan, Adrian Hadley, Caudle, and Mike Gray, a fullback. Well, I just got Caudle scored 3 tries against me, but it was marking shadows, like 3-on-1 all the time. They had the overlap all the time, and he was a physical specimen, Gerald, like Glenn Webb when he had space, Gerald. But we used to have, when I moved to Bridgend, we used to have a ding-dong meeting him all the time. It was, because obviously, no disrespect to Aberavon, but our backline then, we were sort of like more fronted up and more sort of like ready. Our pack was sort of more ready for him, and we used to have some close encounters. It was like a derby beneath Aberavon. It was like Bridgend, Cardiff always hate each other.
That's fair enough. And the last question, if you were to do anything differently in your rugby career, what would it be? Or would you just do it the same?
I would have done weights earlier.
Good.
Would have done weights earlier because I didn't believe in weights when I was 18, 19. I was like speed. And then when I broke my leg, fitness coach Carl Morgan, he introduced me to weights, build me back up, and I never felt so fitter with weights. That's how I would train. Obviously, the game has moved on significantly now to what it was then. A weight program. For me, weights.
Happy days, good. Dippy, it's been quality speaking to you, mate. Good insight into your rugby career and obviously your Aberavon Slam 15. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll hopefully see you soon in the clubhouse.
Yes, Swank. Always count on